Hello, everyone. Welcome. MTL Sports One, episode 132. Uh, we're on Thanksgiving week, but we still got one game tonight. Some call it the Hardball Bowl. The two brothers, Jim and John, haven't played each other in 11 years, Lawrence, since the Super Bowl. So it's been a while. One guy went off to Michigan, won a national championship. One guy kept on kicking the rocks in Baltimore. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the other games that happened this past Sunday and Thursday. And then plus we're gonna preview some of these games for this upcoming week. These Thanksgiving Day games. Rare, and I guess not rare anymore, but the new Black Friday game, we'll go over that and maybe some others. But with all that being said, guys, stay tuned. Episode 132. Let's start with NFL Thursday game. I believe we had who do we have this past Thursday, Lawrence?
You had the Browns and the Steelers.
One hell of a game. A little bit of some weather, some inclement weather. Which hey, I love to see it, but hey, if you're one of those, teams, Miami or any of the LA teams, they usually don't play too good in some snow and ice and stuff like that. But this was I kind of call this one. I knew this was gonna be a trap game just because the AFC North teams just play each other so well. They're always close. It's not one team blowing the other team out. It's just how this division goes. In my 20 plus years of watching the AFC North, this is just how the games go, unless for whatever reason one of the teams are just absolutely bad, but that's not usually the case. Lawrence, do you have any thoughts on this game? The Steelers, like we said, they might hit a wall soon. I don't think they hit a wall necessarily, but I think this might, I guess, temper expectations for them, maybe.
I don't think it's hitting a wall if you're the Steelers, but I do believe that the wall they will hit is their own division. Because they've only just started playing the division. Last week they got one over on the Ravens. Yep. You can see how how quickly things can change in the divisions. AKA they lost to the Browns. You kind of tell the Browns were going to take this game from the moment you were watching Jameis Winston talk before the game. It's kind of his little. I think it's a quote from Myles Garrett, but when he says you're not a Brown until you beat the Steelers, when he said that, I was like, well, looks like he's coming to play. He's giving that Jameis pregame pep talk that only Jameis can give. Yeah, and it just kind of felt like it was gonna be a Jameis kind of day.
Yeah, I agree with you. He played well, had one interception, which, let's be honest, Jameis is going to have interceptions. We can't blame him for not having one. The guy went 30 for 30 a couple years ago, but, still carrying some of that over into the Browns. But, the Browns defense is just really good. Stopped the Pittsburgh rushing attack. They only combined for 120 rushing as a team, so that's not their usual MO. They love to run the ball. That's Arthur Smith. That's his MO. He tried to do it in Atlanta. Trying to do the same thing here, just didn't work. And then you're relying on Russ to bail you out. And Russ, he's not going to be able to bail you out all the time. He's not super old, but he's getting up there in age. And we have guys like Myles Garrett running after you, and you're running for your life because your offensive line is not the best. They're decent, but not the best. You're asking a lot for Russ, and he only has George Pickens. And so when you only have really one go-to guy, you have Freiermuth, but that's not really a go-to guy. It's more of a safety blanket, right? So, it's tough. Plus, when the snow came, you could definitely tell it affected Russ a lot more than it affected Jameis. And then they looked pretty good when they brought in Justin Fields. I don't know why they didn't let him close that game. I felt like he would have had an equal chance to close it out with, him and Russ having an equal chance to close that out. I don't know how you feel about that.
It was just an odd game. because all the points started happening when the snow came, which is normally the pure opposite of what a snow game is. It's normally all the points are before the snow starts coming down.
Yeah.
So a little bit of flip flop. Uh, do I believe that they should have had Fields closing out the game? Maybe just because of his running ability, but they didn't run the ball very well, anyways. I mean, another thing is also, I mean, Myles Garrett had 3 sacks in the first half. You literally just can't account for one guy going to get going out there and getting 3 sacks. Most of the time, you don't even think a guy's going to get 3 sacks in a game, let alone in one half. But regardless of that, the O line played a lot bigger in the second half. I don't believe they even gave up a sack the second half to the Steelers. There was improvement. And I don't think Russell Wilson did anything to be stripped of his starting position, other than the fact that Justin Fields can run the ball, but you should be able to run you got to be able to run and pass. And when Fields gets in there with a cold shoulder, not throwing the ball the whole game, do I want that leading at the end of the game? I don't think so. And honestly, you can't even be mad at the Steelers' offense in a whole, because the game came down to the Browns had the ball last and drove down the field and got a touchdown. The Steelers' defense simply did not close the game out. And it's one of these games, just like the Cowboys and the Redskins game, or sorry, the Cowboys and the Commanders game. Everyone thought the under was live and was gonna hit and sing it all night about the under, and then the fat lady came and, well, she sang, but she sang for the over to hit and both of those.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Wild game up in Northwest Stadium. But yeah, Steelers with the L, Browns with the dub. A little interesting scenario. Is setting itself up in the AFC North. All right, so Sunday, Lawrence, do you tell me what games you watch? Because I'm gonna be honest, the 1 o'clock window, I did not watch any of these besides the end of the Dallas Commanders game.
Okay. So we're posted up in a beat ups. I efficiently watched about 4 games, first half, at beat ups. I watched the Lions and Colts. There was not a whole lot to really pull from that game, and to be fair, it was just the best meme for it was that American Dad meme, when the alien slaps him in the face and then immediately gets pummeled into the ground. The Colts hit him real good early, put up 6 points, and then you never saw him again. Richardson wasn't not good. Best way to put it, he just was not good.
Yeah.
He could make sporadic explosive plays, and that's it. That's all you're gonna get. And honestly, the Lions just controlled tempo, all the clock, and then it was just Goff making timely throws to keep drives alive. The running game did not. So didn't watch this game second half. Didn't think I would need to chime in and tap into that. Other games I watched first half of Titans and Texans. Analia was getting excited about that one, and as a Titans hopeful, she is. They did really good. Will Levis went 18 for 24 for 278. Pollard had 119 yards of all the 134, something around there, rushing yards. So it was a consistent run game that could get you consistent yardage on your early downs, and touchdowns were basically built up of explosive plays. They had about a 60. I know that one of them was Westbrook, McKinney. Definitely got about a 40-yard touchdown in the first half, and then they had some kind of trick play that went for about 70 yards in the second half. So I mean that's 14 points off straight up explosive plays. I mean, you talk about people not liking each other. This was strictly a Titans team that wanted to make a statement about how they don't like the Texans. And honestly, C.J. Stroud has looked pretty bad in the last few weeks, which is kind of funny because the banter now is, oh, who's better, Bryce or Stroud? I still think it's Stroud, but Bryce is balling.
Yeah, he's
But
definitely hit a sophomore slump. Do you think it's because the teams he's playing, like he's playing better teams, or
one is because he's playing better teams. That's definitely for one. His division now plays him tougher, as you can see in this game, because
yeah,
in the year before they were bad, and the division didn't think too highly, didn't think too much of the Texans. They're just as bad as the rest of us. Now they're kind of the top alpha guys, with their one single playoff win last year, and getting shown up by a rookie. I don't think a lot of these teams like that either.
yep,
So CJ Stroud is, I think it's a mixture of sophomore slump, just because everyone's got a year of film on you. You're playing better teams because you've been higher in your standings. I also think it comes down to the fact that in a lot of these games, and you can see it in Mixon, like their running game is not active. Um, there's some games where he's lightning in a bottle. There's a lot of games in which he's just not doing a whole lot. And you can see his frustration. He acts out. I mean, he literally was throwing his helmet. I think it was like 2 or 3 games ago. Yeah, he can get touchdowns. He's cool with touchdowns, but he wants yardage as well, which is something he's just not really getting a whole lot of. And I think that comes down to the O line is struggling compared to last year, and he also doesn't have the same receivers. I mean, I think it was a clear nod in the beginning of the season when he had healthy wide receivers that he looked like a good QB. Now that some of them are coming back from injury, and honestly, your main guy at the moment is Tank Dell because Nico Collins comes ins and outs of the lineup after coming back from injury. So
yeah. I feel you. Yeah, definitely a sophomore slump. Hopefully that cools down some of the CJ Stroud top 5 quarterback. I never believed in that. That was just a bunch of people trying to make a bunch of hot takes and trying to get clicks. I never thought he was going to be a top. I mean, your rookie year being a top 5 quarterback, like, come on, let's slow the brakes. He played well, don't get me wrong, but like we said, that was because of his schedule.
and
Great
then
talent, great as a rookie, but is he a top 5 quarterback? No. Hopefully, this second year, him struggling, kind of cools some of that talks.
just lets him develop a little bit. It's not
Yeah,
like he's just because he broke some records doesn't mean a whole lot.
yeah. And you don't want that pressure on you too early. You gotta want to develop and give yourself some leeway. You don't want to have super high expectations on coming into your second, third year. You don't want that pressure. You don't want that pressure. What
So
else did you watch?
I watched a lot of the Cowboys and Commanders first half. That was a struggle fest to try to
Yeah,
keep up with that.
I
Um,
agree.
Obviously the bar we were in, it was actually a Cowboys vibe there. There were some Commander fans, obviously, mixed throughout, but there was a party like right behind us. There was about 20 people, just straight Cowboys down the row. I think they had one Washington fan amongst them, and
Yeah,
they were getting loud. And honestly, fair to it. I mean, that was the only thing you could do the first half was try to get loud and make something happen. I mean, it was ugly football. It didn't even look like football. It just looked like, uh, honestly, it looked like backyard football. Um,
yeah,
Aubrey couldn't hit field goals. Um, you guys couldn't keep the ball. I mean, you would get an interception, turn into a fumble on the same play, and then you would get called back that it wasn't even an interception to begin with because it was a push off. I mean, there was a lot of fouls. It was an ugly game. Can't really compliment it a whole lot. And then I didn't watch much of the third quarter, but I did watch a lot of the fourth quarter because the Carolina game was over at that point, and I did see the end of it. Um, Honestly, you got to hit those extra points. Um, I know a lot of the Commanders fans are like, "Oh yeah, the kicker was fine. Like he's doing all right." I mean, I'm pretty sure he missed 2 extra points in the same game. So they you're trying to really make a push um, that you want to make it to the postseason because right now you're.
oh, I don't think we can hear you. There you go.
Yeah, so you're looking really bad because Tampa Bay is going to come in really hot at you. Um, and honestly, you need to speed up the pace that you want to play your team at. You need to speed up development of certain guys. And honestly, the kicker's injured. Let's not keep him on IR and waste a spot, especially if he's not even kicker for the future for you. And honestly, you got to get a good kicker in off the street. It's confusing how certain teams can do it and other teams cannot. Like the Chiefs got a kicker on like Thursday for Harrison Butker in the Panthers game, and that guy was able to knock out all his extra points in 2
Yeah. Yeah, I know, and I'll give the kicker a break. I know he just got off IR, so maybe he's a little rusty. So I'm not blaming him too much. And the hold was, they fucked up on the hold. So I'm
I
not
think
too mad at
Tressaway
Siebert.
made it a good hold. I think it was a bad snap, but
Yeah,
Tressaway
yeah,
made it a good hold.
yeah. He did the best of what he could with the bad snap. So I mean, you could tell it kind of threw off the kicker. And if you're coming back off of IR, you're gonna be rusty. And overall, I feel like kicking as a whole has just been off this year. You look at Justin Tucker, you look at McPherson, you look at Moody for the Niners. I feel like kicking is just in a bad spot this year for whatever reason. So it's costing teams games, and it's sad to see. But hey, that's how the NFL goes. Just little things that you wouldn't expect to make a big difference makes a big difference in some games. So I'm not too mad at him. I am mad at the Commanders fans all week were bragging about how they're gonna beat that ass, and them boys came in and honestly, like if it wasn't for the garbage time touchdowns, like them boys was beating their ass, especially come fourth quarter when they started. When Cooper, especially when Rush threw that touchdown on that seam route down the middle to the tight end, I was like, all right, well, I think the Commanders didn't come to play. They thought this was going to be easy dub. So, yeah, shout out to them boys. I guess they're still alive. A slim chance of them maybe making the playoffs. Commanders, playoff hopes are closing, even though they are. I think if it ended today, they're still in, but they still got the Saints, they still got the Falcons, they got to play the Eagles one more time. I think they got to play Tennessee, which Tennessee honestly looked good against the Texans. So I don't know. If you're the Commanders, you got to be sweating a little bit. You got to pick it up. And same thing with Stroud is happening to Jaden, and we kind of predicted this a couple weeks ago, where he's going to eventually hit the rookie wall. People need to pump the brakes on calling him the next Lamar Jackson, and he's MVP and all this other stuff. Hey, let's pump the brakes. The kid's playing good. Obviously, he's going through a slump now, so maybe temper your expectations there as well.
Yeah, because if I think Tampa Bay is that one team that's coming. I don't think a lot of the NFC realizes how quickly Tampa Bay is about to blitz. I'm pretty sure they're like 5-6.
Yeah.
They don't play anyone, and I really do mean they don't play anyone the rest of the season. Tampa Bay's schedule is so light, and the way they were able to stay in games against some of the better teams in the NFL with nobody at wide receiver, and in the pure destruction of the Giants, somewhat self-inflicted by them, but still, it's something to take your hat off to. And the last game I watched was Carolina Chiefs. First things first. You said you didn't watch a lot of it. Let me fill you in.
I didn't watch any of it until the last 2 minutes.
Carolina was able to make it a close game, but there's something very apparent, and it poked its ugly head in this game as well, and that is the refs favoring the Chiefs so bad and bailing them out every moment that they have to in order to keep them the winning streak alive. I mean, they were just foul after foul after foul on the Panthers defense, and you're just watching the playback, and you're like, that wasn't a foul. There was a foul at one point in which J.C. Horn was holding, but he literally put Dustin Hopkins into a blender. First 5 yards you can do whatever you want as long as it's he literally first 5 yards literally just kept them at the offensive line. He literally just kept them at the line of scrimmage.
He's jamming them good.
Because what Hopkins likes to do is he likes to push you immediately off the line. Horn got him, and they scrapped at the line a little bit. And because Hopkins didn't get to run his route, because Horn got him, they called a hold, which nullified a sack, which kept the drive alive to get a touchdown. And then later in the game, when Mahomes makes that super duper long run, You can clearly see number 75 on our defense being held across his body. You know, he's wearing a black jersey. He's a black man. There's a white arm and a white shirt holding his face. His head's going up in the air. There really is no more you need. It's contrast and color. There's a white arm going across his whole body. He's trying to move through the line. His hands are up in the air saying, I'm getting held. They don't call it. Mahomes runs for, I don't know, what was it, 25 yards or whatever.
Yep.
If he doesn't, it's third down and like 18?
Yep.
And they're probably punting it. Or hopefully they're punting it, but no, they got bailed out again, like they always do, which I'm not really that mad about because, I kind of expected Carolina to lose. But the fact that they were able to keep the game close, and honestly, the fact that the game literally came down to the refs bailing out the Chiefs at multiple points is kind of what makes the game annoying. Because if it had been called a fair game both ways, I think there was a good chance Carolina pulled off a massive upset. I mean, this was completely Bengals versus Chiefs earlier in the season. Kind of BS calling.
Yeah, and we've seen it over and over again. I think you're right. And one thing I think the NFL really has to explore is now Mahomes is pretty much the only one that's doing this. And if you've seen anyone else do this, Lawrence, let me know. But him fake running out of bounds, like they gotta cut that out. There has to be some way they can penalize him because he does it way too often. Like, all right, you think he's running out of bounds, so they're not going to touch him, and then he cuts up field, and it's always for 15, 20, 25 yards. It's like, bro, like, and if you hit him, that's roughing the passer. It's like, there's like this gray area, and I feel like the NFL needs to fix that. I've mainly seen it with Mahomes. Guys like Josh Allen and Richardson really haven't done it. I don't know if you've seen that from anyone else, Lawrence.
Not really, because like the only other people who run on a consistent basis is Lamar. You don't see it from Lamar. Lamar's too jukey. He tries to keep everything in between the lines before he goes out. Josh just runs you over.
Yeah.
And honestly, running the ball isn't a strong suit for any other quarterback. That they use it enough to even get caught about. I mean, it just really isn't. But yeah, it's such a Mahomes thing. Okay, he just gets to the sidelines, and then he makes his angle that he's going to go out, and then he just kind of lets the play develop around him. All the guys are too afraid to hit him because the moment he puts his foot out of bounds, they're going to get a flag. Not even a body out of bounds. He's just going to took his little toe out of bounds, and they're going to call all the flags in the world to say they're boy wonder.
Yeah, it's literally damn if you do, damn if you don't. I don't know. They got to fix it. 4:00. I think we're in the 4:00 window now, right? 'Cause I didn't watch the Dolphins beat up on the Patriots. Don't think I want to. Broncos Raiders. Honestly, I think this was the game on CBS for us. I didn't watch that. I did watch the 49ers get beat up on by the Packers. Yeah, they look sad without Brock Purdy. This Brandon Allen guy, he was bad. And honestly, the offensive line didn't play too well. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they have. I think Big Trent is back from. I think he's back and playing. I don't know why the offensive line looked bad. I mean, they just couldn't get any.
My question is how is a guy like Brendan Allen on a team right now? Because I get he's the backup and everything, but you're just lying to me. You're saying that like that's the best backup you could get.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I get why you trade Trey Lance to get something back from him, but Trey Lance is better than this dude. I mean, come on now. Like this is pretty pathetic. 5-6. I don't think 49ers are honestly like they're like on the outside looking in. I don't think. I mean, anything can happen, but it's looking very slim that they're gonna make the playoffs. They're in the same boat as the Bengals and all these other teams in the AFC.
The only problem with this division is the fact that they're all relatively the same kind of decent, and only one of them's going to make the playoff at this rate.
Yeah, and the Cards, I guess Seahawks and Cardinals are tied for the top of the division, right? They both have the same record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, the 49ers and Rams have to hope for, honestly, hope for a lot. Hope the Commanders lose, and hopefully they can finagle their way to the top of this division. Because yeah, I think only one team's coming out of here. On the flip side, Green Bay looked good. Josh Jacobs looked really good. 3 touchdowns, 106 yards. Jordan Love didn't turn the ball over, surprisingly. 49ers defense did not look good, especially without Bosa. No pass rush. DB's secondary looked even more suspect than usual with no pass rush. You basically letting Jordan Love take his time dissecting the defense. Yeah, secondary looks suspect. They look suspect all year, so it only magnifies that. Yeah, 49ers in trouble, Lawrence.
Yeah, the 49ers are, I would say, down in the dumps at this point, because there's a lot of their season that's just pretty much over.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I think Shanahan's on the hot seat. You go from Super Bowl to missing the playoffs. Yeah, that's not a good look, man. Cardinals Seahawks. This was surprising. Seahawks came to play. Kyler. I think he played okay. I think they just didn't have a rush game for whatever reason. They just couldn't run the ball. I mean, that's their mo. And if you asking Kyler to do everything, I feel like that's not the right answer. And honestly, they look rusty coming off the bye week. They actually look rusty.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think their little hot streak comes to an end, and the Seahawks is going on a little heater. First, I think look what their third game they won at home. Still losing record at home, but they played relatively well. Gino did have a interception, but had a touchdown as well. So yeah, NFC West action is crazy. Any thoughts?
I did not watch this one because it was on the Sunday Ticket, and I was already on the Hulu for the CBS and Fox game, so it was just easier to keep putting two on than just having one on and flipping back and forth between us on the smart TV. But
I feel
honestly,
that.
when you're looking at the Seattle's remaining schedule, um, it's a quick turnaround to the Jets. So they're gonna play the Jets next at the Jets.
At the
Um,
Jets.
so it's gonna be Gino going back. Then they're gonna play the Cardinals again, but they're gonna be in Arizona. Then they're gonna play the Packers. Then they're gonna play the Vikings. Then they're gonna play the Bears. And they're gonna play the Rams. So honestly, Seattle is about to go through the gauntlet, and they won all these games just now that I think they needed to win,
Yep.
in order to set themselves up, preferably later in the season. But the big kicker is you played a lot of your home games already this season. You had a losing record at home, and now almost the rest of your schedule is on the road. So does not bode well.
Yeah, now they go look for the Seahawks. And last game, got the Rams, Eagles. Eagles dismantled the Rams. Rams offensive line sucks. I don't know what the hell happened to him. Kyron Williams, he was playing well early in the year. Lawrence, I don't know what happened to him. He did have that one touchdown, but other than that, I mean, he really didn't flash on the screen. I know he had 4.5 yards of per carry, but I mean, when you watched him run the ball, you're like, he doesn't really look too good. Stafford was just getting hit, beat the hell. Puka played well. Cooper played okay. Um, but I mean, Philly was just too much. Their defense is really playing a lot better. Saquon went bonkers, 255, 2 tubs. That had some receiving yards as well. 4 for 47 on catching the ball. So they played well. No Devontae Smith. They still played well against the Rams. I would say the Rams are probably out of it. I'll keep my money on between the Cards and the Seahawks. I feel like the Rams offensive line is just too bad. I don't feel like when they go against these teams with a good defensive front, I feel like they're just going to get they're going to get rammed. I don't see too much hope for Rams fans out there. I don't know if you watched this one.
I did not know.
Oh. Well, you missed too much. Let's switch gears. Thanksgiving. We're not gonna go full in depth, but do you have any tidbits, any early picks you want to make?
Well, seeing as these games aren't the most exciting games, in my opinion, maybe
Yep.
they will be, maybe they won't be. But the Thanksgiving slate is pretty dull. To match it, the Friday game is pretty dull. I think the Friday game is going to be closer than we think it is. But obviously, straight out, I'm going to take Kansas City to win that one. Um, within 10 points, I think. So I guess the Raiders, I believe, will cover the spread, but Kansas City is going to easily win that game. I don't think Chicago has a whole lot for the Lions, especially on Thanksgiving when the Lions have kind of been bad. And like the first year the Lions aren't bad, they lose last year on Thanksgiving to the Packers. So there's probably a little bit of envy, and there's probably a lot of Lions players that want to win this one because even as this team has gotten good, they still have not enjoyed a Thanksgiving festivity during the post game part. Next, I'm going to have to take the Cowboys to beat the Giants, and that's not going to be much of a game either. I think there's just too much, just I guess bullshit with the Giants organization. I mean, half the guys don't even want to play.
Yep.
Slayton's so pissed that his best buddy got booted to the curb, and then you blame Daniel Jones as the problem, and then without him, you only put up 7 points. Okay. Sure, he was the problem. I think it's just the whole organization as a whole. And then lastly, I don't know how someone thought this was a good idea because the Dolphins never play good in the cold. But let's make Dolphins go on the road to Green Bay to play the Packers in the cold Lambeau on Thanksgiving when people are trying to have a nice uh, dessert after Thanksgiving with the
Some pumpkin
fam on the
pies,
couch.
some
Um,
pecan pie.
and you got
27 degrees.
27-degree weather. Hopefully it doesn't snow because if it snows at all, the Dolphins probably won't even come out. So yeah, this is gonna be a snooze fest. I think Green Bay is gonna beat the hell out of them. I think they're gonna run it all over them as well. Especially if you watch Josh Jacobs this last week.
Yeah.
That's a scary man. 3 touchdowns, hat trick. He's good to go.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think Detroit probably beats up on the Bears first game. They get to eat the turkey legs after they win. Dallas is going to beat the hell out of the Giants. They just suck. And I think Dayball's gone. I think we pretty much already had that set in stone. The GM should be gone as well because he is just an idiot. But who knows? This organization they're rivaling other badly run organizations. I'm not going to say names, but and Green Bay's going to beat the hell out of Miami. Even though Miami looked pretty good against the Patriots, they just don't play well in the code. And they're playing at what? It'll be 7 o'clock at night there in Green Bay. 27 degrees. Yeah, I'm not gonna go against the Green Bay in that one. And then yeah, Kansas City should beat the Raiders. This weird time slot on Friday. We were talking about this before we started recording, but this is just a weird time slot. Like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday. Like yeah, I get most people are off, but the people that aren't off, they're not watching, and the people who are off, like, are you really stopping your Black Friday shopping and or whatever other festivities you got going on to watch this game? Probably not. Just a weird time. Any quick picks for these Sunday games and or Monday?
Oh man, you're gonna put me on the spot like this, my guy. So if I had to do some quick picks, um, I'm probably gonna take. It's gonna sound crazy. Take New England at home against the Colts. I think it's gonna be a changing of the guard. I think the coach, I think for the coach in the New England has seen Belichick over the years take advantage of rookie quarterbacks. I think he should be able to do it himself as well. I'm probably going to take the Chargers if nothing freaky happens in this game to handle the Falcons. I'm probably going to take the Bengals to beat the Steelers. Like I said, I don't think this is the Steelers becoming bad or anything. Just like you said earlier, it's like their wall. Their wall is their division. The Bengals desperately need to win. And honestly, if the Bengals lose this game, like at this point in the season, the way it's gone, it's getting blown up. Whether it's that week or the weeks after, but the writing's on the wall and it's over, and no one's even gonna bat an eye about it. I'm probably going to take Tampa Bay to cover the spread against Carolina. I like to say Carolina's doing a whole lot better, but I do believe that Tampa Bay is a lot stronger. And I don't know what it is about Mike Evans, but he always plays super good against Carolina, no matter what we do, no matter what we throw at him. It's just always Mike Evans is having a great time. So I'm not going to go against the Mike Evans that I've known for this long, especially the way they're playing. I would probably take Baltimore to beat the Eagles at home, only since being Baltimore's due. Whether or not I think they're going to lose to the Chargers tonight. Regardless, I think Baltimore's due. I think the Eagles are exploitable, and I think something that the Eagles like to do a lot is running the ball, and I think that bodes well for the Ravens not have to be thrown out all game. And then Buffalo, I think, is going to take care of San Francisco at home. They have to keep winning in order to keep pace with the Chiefs and the refs. And then lastly, give me Denver at home against Cleveland on Monday night.
Fair enough. For me, I'm gonna take the Falcons. Falcons at home. I think they're coming off a bye week, so yeah, I got them against going at home, winning against the Chargers. I got Cincy winning at home versus Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh hit their wall. I don't think they'll be able to score enough to keep up with Cincy, even though their defense is really good. The fact that the Browns could go up and down the field, especially in the snow, doesn't bode well for that Pittsburgh defense. And Cincy's going to put up points just because they can. Minnesota Cardinals. I'm gonna go Cardinals. I feel like this is a bounce back game on the road. They need to win so they can keep pace with the Seahawks. Seahawks don't play this week, right? Well, anyway, they need to get ahead of the Seahawks. Oh, they do play. They play the Jets. They got to keep pace with the Seahawks, and I think they beat the Vikings. Vikings come back to earth for a little bit. I got the Colts. I think AR finally puts it all together for one game against another bad team. Even though the defense is decent, I feel like he can hopefully put it all together to pull this one out. Seattle beats New York. I'm not talking about that. Washington, I got them beating Tennessee, but I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee comes in and beats the Commanders. So I'll take the Tennessee spread, but the Commanders should win. It's just not boding well after their performance last week against them boys. Houston beats Jacksonville. Jacksonville's just bad. Rams at New Orleans. I'm gonna take the Rams just because New Orleans is pretty bad. I'll take Tampa Bay versus Carolina. I think Philly beats Baltimore, Lawrence. I know usually Baltimore plays well against NFC opponents. And it's in Baltimore, but Philly's just on a roll. Philly has something to prove. And I feel like if they don't have Devontae, then it's a pick me. But if Devontae comes back, then I'll definitely take the Eagles. And then San Fran's getting beat the hell up. They're not gonna beat Buffalo. Buffalo's gonna whoop their ass. It's gonna be in Buffalo Sunday night. I think there's gonna be some inclement weather possible too. Sunday night. That doesn't bode well for the San Fran. And I don't know if Purdy's cleared to play next week. Plus they're missing Bosa as well, so it's just not looking good for them. And I'll take Denver. Why not? I'll take Denver. That's it for week 13. A little quick pick action. We're not going to record no episode Thursday, so Had to get those in really quick. Anything else you want to go over, Lawrence, before we head on out for the week?
I'm already. I gotta watch this Chargers dismantle this Ravens offense. No,
So do
number
I.
one defense. Number one defense.
So with that, we're going to head on out. Thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Thank you guys for listening on Spotify. Have a good Thanksgiving. And we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.